is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash. It just puts a smile on my face just saying those guys' names. Today we're talking about the NFC West. We finished our top 10 for every single position group, so if you haven't checked out that episode for safeties, we finished that up in the most recent episode. And in that episode, we were talking about the Seattle Seahawks in passing. And so now we will finally get to give our full thoughts on all of the moves that they've made this offseason, because they made a lot of them. And they say that if you stay the same, you got worse. And they definitely didn't stay the same, but we'll see if they actually got better. But before we get into that, we have to talk about some contracts. And before we get into that, I have to ask Matthew Sponhour and Theo Ash how they're doing on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. We're recording a little earlier today.
We are, and I appreciate you guys doing that. I want to go over and hang out, and it makes it easier if we record this at 3 instead of 5, so that's really big. My chair is growing on me. I'm starting to like it a little bit more. However, I'm 24 years old, and I have a big pimple by my nose that has turned into like a weird, smooth red spot right now. And on top of that, I have one on the very top of my nose, so... it can't all be good all at the same time, right? You can't win very much. So it is what it is.
I lost my flag football game today, so it's okay.
I was out in the pouring rain yesterday looking for a bird, and my phone got soaked in my pocket, and it's broken.
Oh, damn.
Okay. Hey, thank you
camera
boys for the perspective. It's all not that bad. A big dumb red pimple will heal. Phone gone, probably worst thing that could happen to your phone.
Yeah. I do have a backup phone that's like a 6 mini. It's so old. I got it from Best Buy for like $100.
There you go. Theo's got a trap phone.
So I do have the trap phone that I can still record content on in a pinch. So
what's the quality
it's not
look like on that? What's the...
It's going to be a little bit of a throwback for Theo.
A little bit of a throwback.
We're looking at.
The quality is not too bad, honestly. Maybe 6 is a little bit early. I have no idea. I don't know what gen of phone we're currently on. I don't know what gen of phone I have, and I don't know what gen of phone my backup is. Like,
You're I'm too off grid and disconnected, bro.
I'm not paying attention to that. After I got over like a dozen, like
I agree. I think I have a 14.
What iOS are we on?
sure.
I don't know.
I have a 13. My mom has like a 16 mini. My sister has a 15. I'm just like, they're all like, why don't you get a new phone? I'm like, are you paying for it? they're like $1,500, man. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, the most expensive ones are up to like 2K now, and
that's what I'm saying. And like for us, like if you're not getting like at least half a terabyte for the content, like, because it just takes up so much.
That's pretty standard.
Phone. Is half a terabyte standard now?
I feel like it's decently standard. You could maybe go a little bit smaller than that. But they're not giving you the 128 gigs anymore.
Are they not?
Now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That's kind of my.
I'm going to Apple.com right now.
Look, you go crazy. I'm just saying. I don't think anybody's investing in the 128 gig 2K phone.
Yeah, $2,000.
Blah blah blah. Numbers.
I'm just saying. Look, fine. You guys want to talk about contract extensions? I will give a shout out.
I don't want to talk about any numbers.
All right.
That's
well.
not a number.
That's true. We're going to talk about just letters. TJ Watt, did he deserve to get a number? We won't say what it is.
He deserved to get a number.
That's true.
He deserved to get a contract that had a monetary agreement. Was it a deserved $40 million a year, highest paid non-quarterback in the league, and therefore probably the highest non-quarterback in NFL history.
NFL history.
Yeah, you got there. You're right.
I got there. What do you think? What do you think, Blaiden? You have him the highest of all of us on our edge list.
I do, because I think he's the best run defender in the league, and I don't know if I've had people say, well, he's not the best run defender, period, because there's like defensive tackles, right? There's like Chris Jones and Vita Vea, but I'm like, he might be a better run defender than those guys, just based purely on the fact of how infrequently teams run to the right against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I went back and watched both games against the Ravens because someone was like, then if TJ Watt's such a good run defender, how come the Ravens were able to put like 200 yards on the ground twice against the Steelers? And I go back and watch, and I'm like, I swear they ran it to the right maybe 5 times.
Totally.
One was like on a Lamar Jackson like read option. And like when they did try to run to the right, I think the biggest gain they had was like 4 yards.
Well, they did get around to the right on the read options a lot in that game.
Yes. No, Lamar Jackson was able to get Watt like biting on Derrick Henry.
And I'm not sure if that was Watt's full responsibility, was containing Lamar. Like, was it a linebacker that was supposed to get over, because the Steelers linebackers in that game, they might not have, they might as well not have played.
Right. And that's the other thing. And then you have the fact of like Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, like as good of a run defender as TJ Watt is, that might be the best 1-2 punch rushing duo ever. I mean, it's as good as I've seen in my lifetime for sure. Like, it's either that or like Saquon and Jalen Hurts is great this year, but like Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson is as impossible to stop as you could possibly have in a backfield. So you need a little bit more than just TJ Watt kind of shutting things down on the right side, but in like pure designed runs, just like hand off to Derrick Henry, most of them went to the left, like almost all of them.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that rushing performance from Henry, it wasn't necessarily Watt's fault. But if you watch that game, he also isn't really winning from a pass rush point of view either on Roger Rosengarten. And his last 2 games, I don't think he recorded a single stat. In week 18 against the Bengals, he had 0 tackles for loss, 0 solo tackles, 0 sacks, 0 passes defensed, forced fumbles, anything. And is it the same deal in the playoff game? I don't remember him doing literally anything in that game besides tackling Derrick Henry when he didn't have the ball. No, he didn't have a single stat in the playoff game either.
Well, how about this then? Let's not even talk about, necessarily did TJ Watt deserve it. Do you think it's hypocritical of the Pittsburgh Steelers to give TJ Watt a big contract despite not having a lot of production, and then trading away Minkah Fitzpatrick for not having a lot of production?
I think they're 2 entirely different players. I don't know if I could go as far to call that hypocritical, no.
I think
TJ's a lot better.
Minkah trade was still weird because, like, why are you giving away a good player if your goal is to contend right now, which is what this contract continues to suggest, and it's what, Rodgers' deal suggests, and it's what trading away assets for DK suggests, right? So with the Minkah thing, I think it is, at that point, it was hypocritical to trade him away because, like, why aren't you getting Ramsey for a pick? Why are you getting Ramsey for a player if you're trying to win right now? So I think it's a little bit weird in that way from a team building perspective. But I think it's acceptable to rate TJ higher than Minkah, which I think is nice.
Oh, I mean, yes. Like as far as just like player for player.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think him being the best run defender in the league, like the fact that teams shy away from him so much, and that's why the numbers are down. But like, I can see the argument of like he's definitely lost a step in the pass rush game, and so maybe he's not deserving to be the highest paid non-quarterback ever. But I don't know. To some extent, I've had this thought that like NFL contracts have a problem with, they don't really reward past performance as they are like a projection of future performance. And so I'm kind of also fine giving TJ Watt this deal just for the sake of like, yeah, you've been that guy for so long. We'll just kind of give you a bone here, even if you're kind of on the downturn of your career.
Okay, but then that's starting to get into pretty like we're just giving him a pass no matter what happens territory. No?
Maybe.
Yeah, is that
but again,
good if that's what they're doing?
But I still think he's the best run defender in football. So it's not like I don't think that like if you're just looking at it purely.
Would you make DJ
standpoint.
Reader the highest paid non-quarterback? Though, like.
No.
right.
Yeah, he was a great run defender at one point. All right.
Now I don't want to compare.
but he's good of a run defender as TJ Watt. Like.
Yeah. Well, TJ is also a good pass rusher still. Like he still has some explosiveness. He's still got the dip and rip ability, the cross chop, get around the edge, bend to the quarterback. How many big forced fumbles did he have last year? There's a lot of production still there with him. But I think some of the suddenness and the counter moves and the speed to power aren't as there as it used to be. When you go back and watch all of his sacks from this past season, they all kind of look the same. They all are just around that outside shoulder, around that outside shoulder, around that outside shoulder. And that's cool. Like he knows when to play run, when to play pass. It's not coming at the expense of run defense at all. But I feel like he used to be able to get sacks in a variety of different ways. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's gone away a little bit. So I don't think the deal will age well. Maybe they don't care. Like he is just TJ Watt and they're the Steelers. And
there's a level of punting on the season if you trade him away for draft picks.
Right.
Yeah, certainly. But I also think that like they haven't really done anything bold, Pittsburgh, in terms of team building. And it's no surprise that they're kind of stuck in no man's land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So. Verdict is
I don't know. That's my
But two other players that got contracts that we need to talk about, or actually three other players. Desmond Ridder.
Shout out Desmond Ridder.
Wait,
signing with the Bengals.
He's signed to the Bengals this morning.
You didn't see this, buddy? Shout out to
No, I didn't see this. My phone is broken.
Now you have, and Matt, and that's right.
That's right.
Broken. So Matt, now you have to go to every home Bengals game
in case he plays. Yeah,
right. Cincinnati. Well, he's in your city.
He's in my city, man, and he's undefeated in Cincinnati, as far as I know. Did he play in Cincinnati with Atlanta? Probably not. Hopefully not. Maybe he did. I don't know. He's like 27-0 at UC. So I'm assuming that'll continue. It's one thing to be in a situation where there's not a lot of pressure because you're backup quarterback. And if you do play, there's great receivers. It's another thing to be in a situation where you're surrounded by love, which Ridder will be in Cincinnati and was not in Atlanta. So I'm very, very high on that pickup. And that's all I'll say about that.
Should he start?
No, it's probably still straight Joe Burrow.
Might be a mistake on their part, but but the real contracts to talk about: Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner, the Jets securing their two top players on offense and defense here, or I guess their top skill position players. Are those deserved contracts?
Yeah, I think they are. I mean, Garrett Wilson to me is probably a top 15 receiver. You got to pay guys like that. I don't think letting Garrett Wilson walk would have done you any good. It's maybe a little bit more than what he's proven, but I believe in his ability, even if like the numbers won't show it because he's playing with like Aaron Rodgers or in this case, Justin Fields. And then Sauce Gardner is a multi-time first-team All-Pro, and we're not as worried about his down years. Some other people, we had him as cornerback 2. So yeah, giving him $30 million is a gimme.
Yeah, I thought this was a home run by the Jets to get these deals done now. Like, no drama. Garrett Wilson could have easily have said, I don't want to play here. I haven't had any production. It's Justin Fields. Like, let me go put up 1,300 yards somewhere else. Instead, it's just a quiet negotiation process that ends in a pretty reasonable contract for the Jets. I mean, the deal's worth less total money than what DK Metcalf got. And
wow.
I think Garrett could have totally
I would take
overshot that. Yeah. Now, he has way more in guarantees, so I understand why Garrett signed the contract. But I was surprised to see any part of DK's deal really over Garrett's. So I thought, yeah, good job by the Jets. He's had 1,000 yards every year, 80 catches every year with no quarterback. So he's he's still been productive. He's had highlights. Like, it's not like he's coasting completely off just draft capital. So I think he's got a way higher ceiling than even what he's done. He's such a good separator. So acrobatic, like he can put up a huge year. Will it ever happen? I don't know, but he can do it.
No, he's sick, so they should be happy they got him back.
Yeah, right.
You guys want to talk about the NFC West?
Yeah, let's talk about the NFC West.
Matt, on the last episode, you were talking about how you're not so confident if you're gonna, like, this is a division that could go really any way for who's gonna win it. You were feeling less confident in Seattle at the time of that episode. How do you feel about them currently?
I don't think they're going to be very good. I think they're a 10-win team that won a lot of one-score games. They were 6-2, and they got worse at wide receiver and worse at quarterback. You know, the excuse we've been making for them this offseason is that, like, well, maybe they'll do like a lot of like wide zones. I don't know. They'll make things easy on Darnold, but I'll be honest with you. Like, I like JSN. I think Darnold's okay, but I think the depth of their receivers are weak. I mean, who's wide receiver 3 there? Even excusing Kupp, is it like MVS?
MVS?
Yeah, that's incredibly worrying if you have to have him on the outside. I don't even know what Kupp is going to be at this point. And I don't think Darnold is proven outside of a 1-year situation where he had great weapons and great talent around him, right? On top of that, like, Zabel, we can like as an addition, but does that get their offensive line in a position where you feel confident in their run game? Because they were horribly inefficient. Like, I don't know. I don't think it quite does for me, and that's a lot of pressure to put on a rookie. So I think you're going into the season with, I don't want to say like Steelers upside. I don't want to compare it to like one of those level of teams or whatever, but I don't think it's entirely dissimilar. And then I think defensively, I like them better. I have more hope. I think the way that they can sort of continue to be in that, 10-8 sort of around 500 win range is that their defense, like, they've got a good secondary, I think, depending on, with like the volatility of Tyreek Woolen or whatever. And
Sure.
We talked about Leonard Williams in our positional rankings. We're pretty high on him, but I don't see it as like a top 5 unit or anything. I think it's more like pushing around 10. So you combine those two things in a division where I don't think there's anybody who's like truly a stinker. Like, I don't think there's any team here who's just like straight up awful or anything. And I have them finishing 4th.
4th in the division. I can sadly see it, and I like your Steelers comparison because how good is the offense going to be with Jackson Smith and Jigba as the best receiving weapon by far, right? I mean, you're really not trusting Marquez Valdes-Scantling to make many catches per game. Cooper Kupp, at this point, how many explosives is he really going to have? So then, yeah, it leaves JSN and Noah Fant, I guess. I like their tight end room decent enough. But I'm totally with you. In a division that features the 49ers with Kittle and Ayuk and Juwan Jennings and Pearsall, I think is going to be good, and McCaffrey, right? Like,
yeah.
And then the Cardinals, even them, like Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson, like James Conner, that's not a bad skill position room either. And now the Rams added Devontae. Like, how is Darnold going to keep up with that torrid pace when these other offenses should have a pretty clear path to being above average or top 10 or top 5 in the Rams or 49ers case? Like, how exactly is this unit going to keep up with that? Not saying it can't be decent, but how are they going to keep up with that?
Yeah, and I mean, like, we can talk about, again, where the defense could be and what McDonald can do for them and whatnot. And I think they have enough guys, again, to be competitive. But I just think if you start the conversation on their offenses, how can they be okay? Like, yeah, it's pretty worrying. And you talk about, like, if you don't get better, you got worse in the offseason, which I do think a lot of the times is true. Well, they're one of the few units that, like, definitely got worse, I think, the offense. A lot of people want to be high on Geno Smith, and I think that's fair, but then you can't turn around and tell me that the Seahawks offense is going to be okay with a major downgrade at quarterback, which is what people would tell me and was what I believe, to be completely honest with you. So I just don't buy that, like, the additions they made to replace Geno and DK. We've been talking about this for like 3 months now, so I know probably Seahawks fans are tired of hearing about it, but I don't believe that the additions that they made are like enough to keep them as good as they were last year. I don't buy it, and I don't see another way where they got so much better that I'm willing to put them higher than where they are right now at 4. And they could be 4. I'll say this, they could be 4 with like 8 wins. That's a completely reasonable.
That's yes.
Yeah,
that's
Blaiden,
kind of,
offer a little Seahawks hope core here. I'm feeling it.
well, that's kind of the perspective that I'm like, yeah, they could be 4th, but like this is just a really tough division, right? And I think that's kind of the thing that makes this difficult. Like I think the vision that a lot of people see and a lot of Seahawks fans see is like, okay, the 49ers were kind of bad last year, but they had their injury problems. And it's like, you're like, well, Stafford's old, like really old. And like, you don't know at what point might, he fall off the cliff a little bit. Like I can see the vision for the Seahawks fans thinking that, they're kind of a young team. And like, if the defense can get right under McDonald, like we said, they have good players in the secondary. They've got good players along their defensive line. They've got some decent pass rushers. I think the hope has to be that the defense is just really good. Like I think
we know, and the defense is, we know what the defense is, which is good, but not like otherworldly or
but like it's going to have to take a step. It's going to have to take a step.
I guess here's my thought process. Like, and I guess I talked about this last episode. I feel like I've been kind of branded as a Seahawks hater, and I'm not really. But like when they made the Darnold move and they moved off of DK, that was because they didn't want to commit long-term money to guys that they didn't think were quite worth it. And they were willing to take on substitutes that maybe weren't as good to keep their future flexibility. Darnold, who doesn't have a lot of guaranteed money after 1 year, and Cooper Kupp, who's obviously not on a DK Metcalf contract. You want to make that decision and you want to talk about whether or not that's the right move? Fine, we can do that. But what's not going to happen is you make a move like that where you're going to be worse at quarterback, worse at receiver. You sacrifice the short term for the long term, and then there's no short term downside to that. Their record this year is the downside of not investing in those guys. And maybe in the long run, it ends up being the right call. Fine. But I think this upcoming year, it does not make me particularly excited about them.
Yeah. I guess the beacon of hope, if you're a Seahawks fan, like this, I think this offense shouldn't, like, maybe it's not as good as the other ones in this division, but it shouldn't be one of the worst in the league, I think.
No, and here's the thing, again, I don't disagree.
That's such a low bar, but like
with that.
It should be.
I see what you're saying.
It should be okay. I mean, like, I think that the coordination issues last year were very real, and I think that they could really, really benefit from more balance. Better run blocking with Zabel, more play action shots. I mean, they were living in these shotgun empty formations, and they're letting the defense tee off in like these wide nines and just rush their tackles and just blow them up. And the guards aren't very good. And Geno still has like a really high drop back rate. And like the interceptions start to pile up, the sacks start to pile up, the negative plays, like, that might not be how it goes with Sam Darnold. Like, it might be a little bit more just like hand off, chip away, like the big red zone turnover moments, like huge negative plays, like aren't happening as frequently. The defense is more like how they were in the back half of the year than the front half of the year, because they got better as the year went on. They were a top 10 unit like the last few weeks of the season. So I can still see them being kind of a sneaky build here, but like we keep saying, I see that about all the teams in the division, and I still might prefer Geno Ball over Darnold Ball, even if it is
that's exactly where I am.
Right?
And can I give you guys a take about the NFC West as a whole? I don't really love any of these teams. I'm not really that high. I don't think this division is that crazy tough. I just don't think there's an absolute stinker in here.
Yeah,
that's all.
Maybe that's a way to look at it.
Not the Rams. I guess we'll get into them.
I guess, yeah, we can get into the Rams. I
want to say one more thing about the Seahawks defense real quick, which is, I don't know. I actually don't know.
I'm interested to see what Emanwari does. I'm a little bit higher on him than I think you guys might be. And of course, there's always the potential for the draft to go, way their way and whatnot, and we'll see what Zabel does. But I just don't think their offensive line is going to be that crazy improved, if I'm being completely honest with you.
I
don't think
Do you think the offensive line is at least as good as Minnesota's was last year?
I don't know.
Ooh. I mean, for second half of the year, yes. Second half of the year, the Seahawks offensive line.
When the line was worse.
When Darisaw got hurt, yeah.
Yeah.
When Darisaw got hurt, this Seahawks line is better than that. But before Darisaw got hurt, I don't know. I don't. I think the protection was better in Minnesota in the first half of the year. So I don't know if it'll necessarily look like Darnold weeks 18 and wild card around all the time, but I don't think it'll be as smooth as it was all year in Minnesota. And then the defense, I love the secondary big three of Love, Witherspoon, and Woolen.
I agree. I really do like their secondary. They have some very cool players.
And they can
and
put
Amari can be part of that. Like they've got a very cool secondary.
They can put Love at nickel, Witherspoon on the outside, and then play with Eamon and Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant also took a bit of a leap last year. He was good.
He's a good player.
So there's a lot of flexibility in the second. Or they could put Eamon at corner, Witherspoon in the nickel.
I don't know if I want Eamon at corner.
Dude, I like Eamon at corner. I feel like his problem is physicality in the box and like reading things. He's such a crazy mover that he can actually like be a freaky press corner. I want to see it.
But like playing corner is like it's such a technical
Yeah, but
how much corner has he played?
I don't know, but I've seen some practice reps. He doesn't play that much outside corner, but he has played in the slot and he's played press in the slot. So I've seen him play man coverage, like, mirroring a guy. Like it has happened in the game.
Sure.
And then I've seen some practice reps out of South Carolina that look beautiful. Like the press coverage is just so gorgeous. And I'm like, man, if he's not taking on these blocks, if he's not filling these gaps, like we might put your ass at outside corner. But I do think the linebackers are two Bobby Wagners, Ernest Jones, and Knight. I feel like they can really get downhill and thump, but they don't really get difficult coverage assignments, and they really aren't so good side to side, which hurts the Seahawks a little bit. And then outside of Leonard Williams, I think the line is okay, more than great. I know Byron Murphy and Boye Mafe are big names, but I just don't think they're quite the number two rusher on a Super Bowl contender,
It's guys that it's easy to get excited about, but
I'm not sure they have a great number two outside of Leonard, which I'd like to see them. Someone
you can
develop
talk yourself.
I'd like
it's
to see
easy to talk yourself into the Seahawks being like within striking range of like division competitive rather than like they're actually your favorite. Is kind of my position on it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're still my 4.
I'm gonna rank them later, but Matt, you may have convinced me to rank them 4 as well.
It's tough. I think there's. I don't know. You say there's no stinker, but I kind of feel like there is a clear hierarchy.
Okay, well, who would you say the worst team is then? Let's move on.
Well, I don't know if but I think it's like
the hierarchy is clear.
Clear hierarchy.
I'm saying it's like there's 2 tiers, right?
Okay, well,
to me the Rams and the 49ers, and then there's the Seahawks and the Cardinals.
Yeah, I can agree with that. That the Cardinals are number 3.
Well, do we want to talk about the Cardinals?
Let's talk about the Cardinals.
Sure. Let's talk about Arizona.
I think they're a big sleeper this year.
Okay.
I think that their run game is incredibly good. Like if we want to talk about, I don't know, what the Seahawks run game could be, you have to recognize that there's another team in the division who's maybe a little funky, kind of in that same range, but I feel like their run game is already established. They're a little bit more inconsistent through the air with Kyler, but I honestly have some hope that like the upside there is high if him and Marv can get more on the same page with McBride as well, that they could take a step in the right direction. Now, don't get me wrong. I do always think that Kyler's kind of prone to up and down just because he's someone who doesn't stick in the pocket and throw over the middle as much, right? But that's not always necessarily bad. Like his creation is obviously really good and he's tough in that sense. And then I think this is going to be a completely new look for the defense, right? I mean, they were really bad on defense last year. They just didn't have the talent. Now you bring in Walter Nolan, you bring in Josh Sweat. Browning will have a full year there. Will Johnson will be there. This is a team that was, really bad against the pass and the run both. And I think there's enough talent for me to say, like, they could take a serious step. Now, it is going to be some level of, like, how good can Kyler be and how consistent can he be? And then can the defense get to average? And maybe I'm like hating on the Seahawks for hoping that their offense can get to average while I'm like doing the reverse for the Cardinals. But they weren't as good in 1-score games. They ranked 10th in offensive EPA last year. They were a pretty good unit, man. So I look at them. I look at the rest of the teams in this division. They're definitely not my last team, and I think they've got a pretty decent shot to win it compared to like where they stand in terms of like sports books or consensus opinion.
They definitely need the Marv breakout season. That has to happen, I think, for a lot to go their way. I mean, you have to love the run game. I think that's one thing that definitely sets them apart from Seattle, at the very least, is how effective this team is on the ground. And then even if Marv is like hovering around 1,000, I still like their like Marv and McBride. I like that way more than what Seattle's rocking with Kyler throwing the ball. So I definitely think I can get behind that. Like the offense can be better than Seattle's, and then you're just hoping for the defense to get up to average. But it is that is the thing that concerns me the most, is like how good will their defense really be this year?
Well, and frankly, it's the pass rush. I mean, I have some faith in like a Sweat Browning combo, but Browning wasn't like crazy last year, and Sweat is more of a good number 2 than a true like takeover guy. But I think Nolan is going to come in and at least be very good against the run right away. I think he's a crazy athlete. I do think he's pretty raw. I didn't like totally love the pick, but I'm thinking that he provides more juice right off the bat. And I think Calais Campbell is a cool addition. I'm glad to see him back, and I still think he's got some life left in him. So I'm kind of excited to see what Gannon can do with the Cardinals. I think they're very much in the mix here.
Yeah, totally. I think the defense is the starting point for me, because that's really just what needs to get out of the basement, 100%. And Gannon was doing such cool things last year, I think partially to overcome the fact that they had no one who had any hope of rushing the passer. Outside of like Gardeck, who had some sauce, like they just don't have anybody who scares you or who you feel like can beat an offensive lineman quickly. So it just feels like they were reliant on just these vast sweeping picture shifts after the ball is snapped to try to get the quarterback just to freeze or throw an interception or something. But like any quarterback worth their salt who is patient could like hit a ridiculous throw in some seam when someone was trying to run, to complete other side of the field or something to complete the disguise, or, it was cool to watch schematically, but it was not particularly effective. And this year I feel like they can maybe just be a little bit more vanilla, a little bit more basic. I'd like to see them keep a lot of that cool stuff, even though they have upgraded talent. Like maybe like be a little bit more Flores-esque Jonathan Gannon than you were with the Eagles when he was like considered this super, just rush for play quarters, like basic at like pretty typical vanilla stuff. Like now he's completely the opposite. I'd like to see him stay more the opposite, but just have better players maybe. But with Sweat and Nolan, I think they can do some cool things getting to the quarterback.
And they get don't they get BJ Ojolari back?
Ojolari, yeah. Honestly, their pass rush could be pretty cool. I'm more concerned about the run defense with those guys, like especially Nolan. And the way he kind of takes on blocks, and the way he, can be a little bit unsound in that area. Like he's such a wrecking ball. He's such a one gap penetrator. But I am worried about him versus some real proper NFL double teams off.
That's what Calais Campbell is for, dude.
It is awesome that they got him back.
That, at his big old age, we don't care.
He was ridiculous for Miami last year. He was good last year for Miami. So I like that.
I kind of like, we'll see about Will Johnson, but I think he could be a guy who makes an impact quickly. And him with Williams, and like, I don't know, dude. I kind of think there's enough on this defense, and I think Gannon's a good coach. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I like the bet on them to sort of start trending in the right direction, and I think the offense is way more there. I guess they are kind of the flip of the Seahawks, but it's just hard not to have a little bit more faith in a team that has like a high upside quarterback like Kyler versus one that I don't think does, like the Seahawks with Darnold.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the Cardinals is how good is Kyler really? That's the other thing outside of the defense that'll really
but if
reveal
we're comparing him to
itself.
Seattle.
If we're comparing him to Seattle, but I mean, Darnold just had a better year than Kyler did. Like Kyler. Ooh,
You look me dead in my face and tell me you'd rather have Sam Darnold than Kyler.
I'd rather have Kyler, but I think Kyler needs to play better than he played last year to
I think that's fair.
Be a real contender. Like in the games I was watching in the prep for this, he just threw some bad picks. And I think the accuracy was kind of scattershot. And I think with Harrison Jr. having such a disappointing season, like not only did he struggle, I think in some contested situation, I think he's still a good separator. And I think that he is still pretty intriguing. And I think the chemistry between him and Kyler was really off last year in some ways. And some of that I think falls on Kyler and some of that falls on Marvin Harrison. Like,
it's hard to know specifically.
He still needs to be just a bit more a fine-tuned machine at quarterback. Like,
I completely agree. I couldn't agree more. But like, I don't know. I kind of like the bet on that because the upside for the Cardinals offense is crazy high, I think. With a very strong established run game and multiple like very, very serious weapons. I don't love their receiver depth, but I definitely think it's workable. I don't know. I just see the vision with them a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, I do too. I really do too. I mean, Kyler is not the worst thing in the world. Like he's
not the worst thing in the world.
He's got superstar ability in terms of like his arm and his legs and his ability to create, but he's not consistent a lot of the time because he doesn't see over the middle of the field. And maybe that really does limit his ceiling, and maybe that's the perspective on it. And I'm getting too lost in like the tools rather than what the player can actually do. I think that's a fair point to make, but I've liked Gannon as a coach. I don't know.
Yeah, there's just I like him too. It's just Kyler. I feel like at this point, I'm a little sick of his limitations in the pocket, like,
and I've felt that way for a while too. I won't lie, but dude, I don't know. I think the Cardinals offense was actually already pretty decent last year. It very well could have been the Cardinals who were the 10-win team and the Seahawks who were the 8-win team last year. Could have been the Cardinals going up against the Rams and them finding themselves in the playoffs. And I think the Cardinals are like definitely a better team than they were last year. I think
they were the best DVOA team that missed the playoffs last year. If you
like, I really do. And
the analytics really do like them.
And I mean, how many new defensive starters are they going to have? Like 4, 5? Like it's going to be a completely new unit, right? You're going to have Johnson, Nolan, Sweat. I don't know if Campbell's
Tomlinson, Dalvin Tomlinson.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, it's going to be a whole new defense. So maybe I'll say this. I won't rank them just yet, but I really like the Cardinals. I'm bought in.
I'll put them at 3.
Okay. So you're not bought in at all, but cool. What about you, Blaiden?
I think it's easy to get excited about them, but I don't know if I'm willing to buy in them higher than 3 either right now. Well, let's talk about the 49ers.
Let's talk about the 49ers because here's my thought. I don't think that either of these two teams in the top tier are like some flawlessly built team that's just wildly better. Okay, let's start with the 49ers, and let's start with their defense. They do have Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. That is good. it is hard to deny that those are two tier 1 guys at like very important positions, or I guess maybe off-ball linebacker is considered a less important position. But Fred Warner is awesome and very important and like a superstar game changer in the highest order, so who cares, right?
Right.
I just question what is around them still. Even with the defensive line, I mean, okay, it's Alfred Collins and Mykel Williams. Now, we liked Mykel Williams. I think Mykel Williams is a crazy athlete. I think he could get there. I think he's got some tools, but is he going to be like a premier number 2 from game 1? I have some real questions about that. I think he's a little bit more developmental. Now, can he be better against the run than what they had last year? Sure. But it still is a risk to have him as like kind of one of the big reliable changes that you've made to the defense, right? Alfred Collins, I kind of feel the same way about. I think in general, like, do I like the defensive line in terms of the run defense better now than I did before? Yes. But I don't think it's like some sold unit outside of Bosa. I think it's still a huge question. And I don't think that either of these guys are necessarily like my dudes who are like destined to make a year 1 impact. Outside of that, it was a year where they did more losing talent in free agency than gathering it. I feel like some years the 49ers and the Rams are very similarly run teams, so I'll lump them together here. I feel like some years it's like, this is our big aggressive year. We're going to go make like some sort of big move, or we're going to go like trade our first round pick because we don't think they matter at all, or we're going to like go all in chips in the middle. And then other years, sometimes I do these at the same time, but other years are more like, we're going to reload seasons, right? Where we're going to let a lot of people walk. We're going to get comp picks because we think 4th rounders are worth more than 1st rounders. And like, we're going to all of a sudden, like, we're going to have a lot of like day 3 guys who we haven't seen a ton of, or we've seen maybe only one season of, like really slated to start. I feel like the 49ers are in a little bit more of a reload year. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. They've had several really good runs. They often bounce back. I'll say this. I'm not a Shanahan doubter at all. I think questioning Shanahan because it hasn't quite like totally worked out to me is too far. I mean, I'm not to say that he's totally perfect, but there's universes where he's got 2 Super Bowls right now, or at least 1. And it's unfortunate that we just don't live in it. But I don't think I look at this defense and say, yeah, for sure. Especially they lost Ward. Like, I don't think there's any way to say like, yeah, for sure. It's just going to be way, way better. Is that what you guys think?
I think they very much drafted for need, and maybe it worked because their main problem last year was the run blocking in front of Warner, like the defensive tackles holding up. They just got ran all over. Mm-hmm. And to draft Alfred Collins and to draft Mykel Williams, it does help that specific issue. And, you know, maybe they've got enough talent in other places, especially just with Bosa rushing the passer, obviously, and Fred Warner dropping into coverage. Like, those guys cover huge amounts of ground. Like, if the run defense is kind of significantly improved because of the rookies, like, could the defense take a pretty big leap up? And it doesn't need to be much because the offense is getting a lot back. And the floor on the offense is always just so high because of the play calling and guys are open. And even as injured as everybody was last year, they were still top 10 in passing EPA. So, like, even last year, they were still not an easy team to go up against and outscore. And that is the thing that makes me optimistic about the 49ers. Really.
Yeah.
It's just they're always so effective through the air. And that's that's the thing that always seems to matter the most, doesn't it? That's
yeah. I mean, it's hard to ignore when you just, again, if we play the count the good players game. How do you feel about McCaffrey? Sure, you can have that, but like Ayuk, Jennings, Pearsall, Kittle is a nasty group of pass catchers. They've still obviously got Trent Williams, like their offensive line's pretty solid. And then they've got absolute dogs on defense with Bosa and Warner. It's like, even if like we were just saying like those guys, that alone might just be enough.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. If they can be a little bit healthier. But I'm still with you, Matt, that they're not some tier 1 contender. And I think their win total is too high. on like the Vegas odds. Like the idea of a full 49ers bounce back at the same time is still somewhat unrealistic to me because, first of all, Aaron Banks is gone, the greatest guard in the league. But he's gone, and it's Ben Barch replacing him. So that is a downgrade on the offensive line. Is Christian McCaffrey going to come back the same? I'm worried about that, especially in the receiving game, honestly. Like if he isn't the same type of route running and yak weapon that he's always been, like he just becomes significantly less valuable to Purdy in the offense, I feel like. So that needs to be back all the way along with the run game. Otherwise, this just isn't going to work. And Debo being traded away and Ayuk coming off the ACL, like Kittle is always kind of banged up. Like the odds everything fires all perfectly like it has in the past just seems pretty low.
Sure. And Theo, I do agree with you. The win total odds feels very weird to me. The 49ers at 10.5 and the Rams at 9.5, I would flip those almost.
10.5 is, I mean, the best teams in the league are at 11.
That's a lot. That's a lot. I would say like both of those should be 9.5 probably, but like, and then the Cardinals and Seahawks are both at 8.5, which I think that's fair. But like the 49ers at 10.5 is, I mean, that's top 5 in the NFL for win total odds. Mm-hmm. They're right there with Detroit, and then the only teams above them are Kansas City, Philly, Baltimore, and Buffalo.
I don't know. Like, I'll say this. I'm also like not in love with the injury outlook in the 49ers' favor. I mean, do they have a healthy receiver who's going to like show up to camp right now? Because isn't Jennings still holding out? And I know Pearsall and Ayuk are both on the PUP list right now.
Yeah.
Jacob, I'm seeing Jacob Cowing like hype. No disrespect, but I'm seeing like wide receiver 4 hype specifically because of the situation being like really tough. Christian McCaffrey, we didn't have him on our top 10 running backs. I don't know what to expect from him. I mean, he's got like Achilles nagging issues. It would be a surprise if he played. I don't want to say that like McCaffrey's health is the determining factor for what I think of the 49ers, but like I'm definitely going into the year not just being like, well, they're going to get 17 games from him, right? And Trent Williams is like really, really old, man. And Bosa's had his injury problems before. Like, this is not just a team that I can roll into the season being like, the health will be fine, right? I don't agree that Shanahan does give them a high floor. That's a very good point. Even last year, they were doing their thing. And as much as I don't think they like totally knocked the draft out of the park or anything, I do like Williams a decent amount. I do think that it'll be better and run support right away. I would be very surprised if it wasn't, but I don't know, man. I'm definitely not there with them as a tier 1 contender unless like the health breaks really go their way and they really nailed the draft. Like, they have to get a lot right. And they're a team that's done it before, but I don't want to just sit here and be like, well, the 49ers have been good before, so they'll be good now. It's like, cool. You could go Google their like past win record or win total or whatever over the last 5 years. I have questions.
I think that, is it fair to say that having Kyle Shanahan is like having Mahomes?
No, not quite.
No, you don't think it's
but I see where you're coming from. I mean,
I wonder quite how their EPA and like advanced offensive metrics have tracked with each other.
Okay.
Because
the 49ers won 6 games last year, so it's not quite like.
But
it's
their
not
offense,
quite like having Mahomes.
Yeah,
but still very good.
Their defense was ranked like 25th, and Spags has never done that. The 49ers offense and the Chiefs offense was kind of, sort of similar last year without a lot of big plays.
And like, dude, did they get that much better from 25?
On the defense?
Yeah. Which defense is more improved, Cardinals or 49ers?
Definitely the Cardinals.
I'm just saying. I
can definitely get behind this logic of
pointing
like,
things out.
I can definitely get behind of like, okay, if we're just talking about like regression to the mean, they did win 6 games. Like if we're
They'll
saying
probably
that,
look. They'll progress to the mean on some. I have a hard time disagreeing with that. They've got a lot of health that could break their way better. That's undeniable. It's a good point.
I'm very much feeling like a Seahawks 8-win season, and then Cardinals and
Seahawks won 10 games last year.
9-win season. They did win 10 games. That's what I'm saying. I'm feeling a Seahawks 8-win season this year. With the Cardinals and the 49ers both having 9-win seasons, and it comes down to like a really wonky tiebreaker for who gets into the playoffs.
That is how it's been in this division for a long time. Yeah.
It's an ugly one, man. Well, how about this? How about we talk about the Rams and we come back to ranking these teams?
Sure. Let's come back. Let's talk about the Rams. They've got Stafford.
So the Rams are everybody's favorite, like sort of feisty in the playoffs team. You know what I'm saying?
Super Bowl dark horse.
Yeah, they're the sneaky Super Bowl favorites, right? They're
Sneaky.
kind of like scrappy on a playoff level, right? When you talk about a scrappy team, they're like a 5-win team that you're not taking serious. They're scrappy on like a seriously competitive level, and it's not hard to figure out why. Like you have McVay, you have like a pass rush that was really, really great last year, so that makes them a tough out against any offense, or at least give them a chance against any offense, although their defense was not very good last year. I mean, it was not good. They have Matthew Stafford, of course, who is a vet, who has seen it all and is still really, really good. And now they're loading up with Puka, who is, I'm not going to say as good as any other receiver, but is like a tier 1, number 1 receiver. And Devontae Adams, who we think was good last year, as a number 2. Like, yeah, it's easy to see the vision with them. But I'll say this. Stafford is getting very, very old. I think he is an injury risk. I don't think he's like nearly as mobile as he once was. Of course, he's not as much of a creator. Puka, the injury stuff, I would label him as an injury-prone player. Adams is getting up there in age, and I think defensively, like I still have a lot of questions about whether or not the secondary can hold up. It is far and away from a flawless team, right? Are they like not the 10-11 team you want to draw in the playoffs? Absolutely. Could they push the Eagles again? Absolutely. And an NFC that I don't think is like that great. I don't know. Are they kind of a threat? Like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not like, I'll say this. I'm not like they're running away with the division and I'm not questioning it. That's my position.
Yeah.
As someone who's still up in the air on the rankings, I might have them at 1, but they're not like, and that's not a hot take at all, right? But I've very much got some question marks about them still.
I mean, they're second.
Say it. Rams first round exit. I like that take.
Rams first round exit. I don't even think that's that much of a hot take. Like
that's
even
what
a
that's what a feisty playoff team means.
Right. Absolutely.
If we're saying like a regular feisty team is just like a bad team that can almost sort of make the playoffs, a feisty playoff team is a team that is just getting first rounded, but they play the team that wins the Super Bowl and they like kind of keep it close.
Okay, they're not that, like, looking at the Vegas odds, they're tied for 5th to win the NFC, so it's not that crazy.
It's not that crazy. It's just like their secondary probably bad. Offensive line.
Look, I think I feel good about Devontae. Let me put that out there. I don't think he's too old. I think he's going to look like a hooper throughout the course of the season. He was good on the
I love
the Jets,
dude.
Yeah, and when Puka went down, their performance against man was just so miserable. Like that game week 1 against the Lions, Puka goes out. Of course, the Lions are playing nothing but man, and everyone's just getting completely bullied. So to grab a guy like Devontae, who's actually like an isolation man coverage winner,
he's a bucket.
He's just a bucket. Yeah, he's just a bucket. And Stafford, if he knows that Devontae's a bucket, like that dynamic can blow up, like Stafford will get him.
Look, if he's got a guy who's a bucket and he knows he's a bucket, I like it. Okay. I totally agree.
Well, and here's one thing about Stafford. If Stafford likes you, you'll know because you'll get the ball 100.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like he could have the Cooper Cup season. It was like just this scheme buster when they put him backside of a 3-by-1, and he just runs a hitch no matter what happens, and it's just a completion every time, a slant, it's completion every time. Like, that's going to be big for this offense. That's going to be so awesome. I'm excited to see that. Puka, yeah, if he's injured, he's injured, but if he's healthy, I mean, this guy was first by so much in yards per route run. Like, it's a joke. Like, if Aiden Hutchinson was going to be depoy and a front runner,
how much of that? Okay, Puka's the GOAT. I'm not questioning him. I'm not questioning him. I'm not questioning him. Let me hit you with this one. Is that aided by the fact that, like, Stafford just throws you the ball so much? If you're
I don't think so, because Puka does everything so well. Like,
I'm not saying he's not a true.
Oh, you're talking about the number, like the.
I'm talking about, like, him being the outlier in yards per route run. That has to be a little bit of, like, Stafford buddy ball,
because his
right?
targets per route,
like a little bit, right?
Higher.
Yeah. And it's the scheme. It's McVay giving him, really money runways.
It's not
play
it's
action
not a bad
that he set up
to bring up, like.
But I just think Puka's so good at everything that, like, even if he's not really the most efficient wide receiver, like, he just makes every ridiculous catch. He can block.
We've just
great
brought
after
that
the
set
catch.
up probably 7
runs.
times this offseason.
He's awesome.
I mean, it is a crazy stat, but yeah, no,
it's crazy regardless. It's crazy
in part because, like, yeah, he gets more targets per route run, so he probably gets more yards per route run. That's not, like, a totally insane point. But I just think, like, if you're talking about going band for band with the rest of this division, Stafford, Nakua, Adams, Tutu, Atwell is, like, an insane passing game, I think. And then you've got this nasty pass rush on the other side. Like, secondary we can ignore. Let's just, like, block it out, pretend it doesn't exist. But, like, dude, their pass rush is so filthy. Like, it's absolutely insane. Like, Jared Hurts, Kobe Turner, and then they've got, like, Byron Young and Braden Fisk, who are pretty good also. Like, it's hard for me not to just be like, yeah, this is the best team.
Yeah. I think they're unique in the fact that they have a great play caller too. If we like all the play calling in this division, we like what Petzing does. Kubiak did nice things last year. Shanahan has just insane offensive impact every season. And then there's McVay, and then there's Stafford, who can transcend the play calling and actually go out there and play like an MVP in a particular game. And I really think he's the only one in the division that is in that tier. I think Purdy's had some numbers, but he's just not quite like Stafford is down the field.
Stafford is clearly the best quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, they're so good in the intermediate range. Like, he's so good moving guys with his eyes still. Like, he's such a playmaker from the pocket in a way that very few other quarterbacks can really match. And when you've got that with Devontae and Puka, like, it's so good. Like, it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to put up points. Kyron is a solid running back. I know maybe he's not so much more than solid, but he's good and he can run routes. And I think the line, it's not as bad as
it's definitely the biggest concern on the offense. Like, if you had
it is it's that and just injuries and Stafford, like,
sure,
maybe fading versus pressure. Like, not only the line being just average, but Stafford fading kind of like Rodgers did along with that could really sink their season. But I think if Stafford plays like he did last year,
Stafford's just I don't know if Stafford ever will fade against pressure just because he's so fearless. Like, that dude will take the nastiest hits ever and just doesn't care. But
it's already happened a little bit.
That brings up the injury concern.
He's not taking the nastiest hits ever anymore.
Oh no,
I don't think. But
look, let me throw some stats at y'all real quick while I'm being the guy who's a little down on it.
Be gentle.
They were 25th in EPA per play last year defensively. And I don't know. I'm not really bought into their defense taking a big leap on paper. Are you guys?
No.
And with Puka back on the back half of the year, they were like hardly a top half offense in EPA per play. They were like 14th or 15th or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I'm not quite there on being like crazy low on them or anything, but I think there's way more questions about them. If we're starting to like upgrade them into the consensus sort of like they're the cool team that can make the Super Bowl, it's like I don't even necessarily disagree, but then like let's be real about where they are. I think the secondary is still bad. I think the pass rush is cool, and I think it gives them a shot against a lot of teams, but their secondary gives a lot of teams a shot against them. And I don't think they were like some elite dominant offense with Puka, and to become that, they need Adams to be like a very, very great guy, a very, very big time weapon, rather than like it would be a cool addition, because that to me.
Well,
is
do you think
big
he's
move.
an upgrade over Cup? I think he's like a clear upgrade over Cup.
I think he's a clear upgrade over Cup.
Yeah. He definitely is. He definitely is. I mean, yeah, they've got to transcend what their numbers were last year. They didn't even score that many points on offense. I remember. I was talking about median.
You brought this up.
I brought this up that they only scored like 20 points or more than. What was my stat? Go look at how many points the Rams scored.
It's like they had two big time games against the Lions and the Bills that everybody watched and was like, oh, because like they're going to war with like the top like tier 1 contenders. They did it with the Eagles and the Lions and the Bills. But then like every other game, they're like puttering around. And here's the thing: it's like they're going to war with those teams, and they ended up with 10 wins. You know what I'm saying? Granted, they did bow out of their last game, so take that for what it's worth.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm just not sold on them being like some like runaway team, even though I think their best guys are awesome and I think they're well coached.
Yeah, that's the thing. I guess like maybe they'll just limp into the playoffs or something. But then once they're there, you just don't want to play them as a contender because Stafford can go off. He can go off script. He might rewrite the script. So yeah, who cares what the numbers say or the spreadsheets say? I saw them almost beat the Eagles. I saw that back shoulder Puka adjustment. If only Bo Limmer didn't blow that assignment. But is Bo Limmer still their starter? He might still be their starter, so I don't even think we can say that.
I don't know.
They traded for the guy from the Bears, the terrible one. I'm thinking of Coleman Shelton. So yeah, going from Bo Limmer to Coleman Shelton is not going to fix their issue there.
You know what? I'll tell you what. I've been very chalky. Cardinals 1, Rams 2,
I like
49ers 3, Seahawks 4. I think the Cardinals are within striking distance. I think they're primed to get better. I do think the Kyler inconsistency stuff is probably baked in, but I think this will be a dogfight division. I think it'll be a lot of teams in the 7 to 10 win range again. I don't think anybody like created or jumped to that superstar top dog tier 1 contender, even really like tier 2 contender, depending on how we're tiering that out. So give me the Cardinals.
I love it. I'm going to go with the Rams and then the 49ers and then the Cardinals and then the Seahawks, which is probably complete chalk, but I'm going with that in this division. All this chaos for...
Well, I did look at the betting odds just for the sake of, because it's always interesting to know like what the consensus is. I believe the 49ers are like plus 170 and the Rams are like plus 175 to win the division. So you're not total chalk by a kitten's whisker. Although if it's possible, if people take Theo Ash's word, some bets roll in and all of a sudden it becomes that way. You might be tipping the scale right now.
You might be. I'm also going to take the Rams at 1, but I can definitely get behind the Cardinals are a little bit slept on right now. I'll put them at 2, and then I'll put the 49ers at 3 and the Seahawks at 4.
It's just been so long since I've seen the Cardinals win a big game, guys. Like Sunday Night Football, like...
And that's
Cardinals
what, here's the thing.
win.
Cardinals fans are going to be in the replies. They're going to be in the YouTube comments, and they're going to say, dude, we haven't won a big game in like a decade.
No, they're going to be hyped, bro. They're going to be hyped. They're going to be like, you guys are so right. The Cardinals are so fired. That's my favorite team. That's what they're going to say. They're not going to say, there's no way we win this division. So
when was the last time
I don't know.
The Cardinals won a primetime game? Can the AI be useful?
Are you asking ChatGPT when the last time?
Well, Google just will AI.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Google's AI assist. Yeah.
Yeah. They last won a primetime game in 2022.
Buddy, you know what I'm going to say. They're due then. Perfect.
They're due.
They're so
No biggie. They've been bad. Now they're getting better. They've been.
That's true.
What, they won,
they are getting better.
They're getting better, man. I think they got better this offseason. I think they're going to be better. I'm down. I'm rolling with the Cardinals.
The last primetime game they had that they won.
Yeah, this is the other thing, is that they probably haven't had many chances to prove themselves.
No. Yeah, that must
What's
be
their
true. I think
record
this
in
was
primetime
the Saints game
like
where Andy Dalton
1-2.
threw that pick six and that famous shot of Marco
Oh my God.
Wilson diving into that end zone happened with Dalton looking disgusted. That was the last time. That's okay. Don't win this.
We didn't have a draft planned for this episode, but I think it would be kind of cool. If we just drafted just players in the NFC West. We each get 3.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Matt, I'll give you the first pick.
Okay. I will go Fred Warner.
Theo?
Yeah, that's good. I'll go with the Nick Bosa.
Then give me Matthew Stafford. And then on the turn, I'll take... I guess I'll take Puka Nacua.
Puka. I'll take Trent
take
Williams.
Cool. I'll take George Kittle. And let me stall for a second while I calculate for a second, bro. McCaffrey's still a big name, man. I'm almost. You know what? Give me Trey McBride. How about that?
Oh, good pick.
I could also go Trent Williams, but I'll go McBride. Stay out
Yeah.
legend. Shout out.
Stay out legend. That is crazy. Like he was on this show and now he's like really good. Like really.
It's not that crazy.
Yeah, not crazy
That's
at
true.
all.
No, it's not crazy at all. That's
He was.
it's actually that's the norm around here.
Yeah. Whose pick is it?
It's yours. It's your pick, Theo.
Oh, okay. Let me get. I've been deep in thought about who I'm going to take.
You've been deep in thought.
Let me take Leonard Williams.
Yeah, that is kind of your guy at this point, isn't it?
Okay.
He's a beast,
Over Trent
man. He
Williams?
should have been all pro. I took Trent
I thought
Williams.
Trent Williams. Yeah, here.
Oh, my fault.
Yeah, that is your fault. And then I guess I'll finish things off here with give me Buda Baker
Solid. So you got Matthew Stafford, Buda, and Puka.
and Puka Nacua. Yeah.
I got McBride, Kittle, and Warner. I cooked.
I got Trent Williams, Bosa, and Leonard Williams. Trenches, babe.
You did pretty good. You
did all right. He did all right. So that's our NFC West draft along with our NFC West predictions. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. And apparently there's comments now on Spotify too. So if you want to leave comments, I haven't blow it up, guys. I don't know.
Say whatever pops into your mind right now. I actually don't know if you should do that on review.
Straight stream of thought.
That might tank us.
Direct.
Wait, it's a comment, not a review. You're just commenting. Yeah.
That's a comment. You could leave a review.
You could, leave a review.
You could. You know, it's honestly probably bad for the brand that we don't ask people to leave reviews more often. But
I think it's probably okay.
You think it's okay?
I have faith that everybody's probably reviewing it 50 to 100 times per episode. I think that's kind of a general
50 to 100 5-star reviews per episode per person.
Quotas, yeah.
So that's what we need. But thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Stay Hot. It's been an absolute blast hanging out with these fellas, and as always, from me and my favorite 2 co-hosts of all time, we'll catch you on the flippity flop.